I hurt, how many times physically I got hurt. Mentally, there's a different pain. So when you want to you be honest with people, you got to be honest with them. You guys are in jail, you understand it. There's emotions that has nothing to even do with you sometimes. It has to do with your family. There's suffering. There's loss of life, not your own life, others. So, reality of this life is a lot of pain in it. And
I've cried myself to sleep, man.
Of course. I know the biggest killers. I got guys around me for years that were killers and friends of mine, big killers, tough guys, shot up, this, that. And I watch and I held them in my arms for them and tell them it's okay for things that were going on while they were in prison with their family, or somebody's dying, or their son got killed, or hey, there's a million things that go on in jails.
Things you can't control.
Yeah.
As soon as you know that you get a call from the reverend, you know it's not good news.
Yeah, you know it's not good. You got guys that, that's why I said, we understand the life.
Yeah.
And I understand the treachery better than anybody now. Because, you guys all know, there's lawyers all over. Let a lawyer go look into my case and see if I ever got caught with anything physical, ever. They got me. When I went to jail years before I went in and out of jails my whole life, I got caught. I got caught with a gun. I got caught. They thought I shot somebody. I got caught then. I got caught at assaults. But this case that they just tried to hit me with a life bid, I didn't get caught with anything. It's all these guys ratting, and these guys trying to switch the story. And I'm talking about me guys. One after another, or God, for people who don't know what Queen of the Day is. It's no fucking excuse. You call the FBI and ask them to sit down and talk to them, to give up guys and talk about opening up a fucking prison. You're a rat. You can't change that. No. These guys were in prison with me when the phone call came. They'll tell you I didn't sleep for days. I said, I'm fucked. This guy's going to hammer me, give me 20 life sentences. And at the same time, his guys are giving me up. Made guys, captains, bosses, banana boss. I said, and they switched and said, I betrayed somebody. I never betrayed anybody. He's betrayed me. So the only difference is I'm not a sucker for you.
Yeah, you find the ones that always call the rat. The rat.
Right. Yeah. I mean, listen, my mother's not on Google or internet, or my sisters, and you got your sister on there because from what I understand, it's him under his own sister's name. And if it ain't you, and it really is your sister, what kind of fucking man are you? Tell her to shut the fuck up. Talk about herself, not about you. Unless you talk about my business with her.
Or doing nails.
Did you sit down and tell her that we killed somebody, or we were moving drugs yesterday in the days when we were doing it? Were you that weak too? That you told her that? I mean, I'm not sure where the fuck the girl's getting her information, if it's her or if it's really him. But the ability of the scratch they got to waste money to do this and waste their time. I travel around the world. I'm in Switzerland. I'm here. I'm there. I'm in Germany. I'm in 15 countries. I'm busy. I ain't got time to sit on that internet and play these kid games with them.
Where's your favorite country you like being? Just to chill, just to actually just enjoy.
Well, I'm all over the world. I go to Denmark because Klaus is there. I go to Switzerland. I got some good friends there. And I go to my country in Albania several times. I have family and friends there. But I love the UK because I got my buddies here, and we can relate to each other. We know each other a lot of years, and we did some time together. So, and now, us from Brazilian penitentiaries, these guys are here with me. So, I got a lot in common here with a lot of people here. And, I got some friends.
It's good you can see one another as well, because I'm not allowed in America. I got deported 3 times and banned for life. So I could never go back anyway.
They had him classified as a menace to society, and I was sending Mission Impossible style teams through Canada and Mexico, bringing him back in.
Yeah, I mean, listen, but here's the thing. I mean, you guys have the ability in a different way than I do to let kids notice, there's a lot of suffering with this stuff. And that's really the message, right? Because they got to get the real deal of what goes on. So they, because when you're young, we're full of, we take all kinds of crazy chances and we don't think before we do things. And then later on you regret it. Instead of doing things like what you guys are doing now, there's opportunities for kids to do this stuff. And there's opportunities for kids not to follow everybody's lead like a sucker. Sit on your 2 hands,
We just want them to know it's not as glamorous as it looked. And it's like, there was good times and there was laughs and but it's not a life I'd give anyone. It's not a life I'd give me worst enemy. No,
and you guys at least were a group of guys who were friends and friendly with each other. I'm involved in an organization whose treachery is crazy. I mean, I just told you, so I never got caught. So let somebody explain when everybody's yelling, rat, 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 how the fuck did I get locked up?
We actually got lucky, didn't we? We had 155 co-defendants, and there was only 3 people talked out of that.
Yeah, that was really lucky. I'm curious, because we've only got drug felonies, and we can't get in any fucking country. Yeah. How are you going all over the world? You want to keep that secret?
I'm special. You know what?
10 passports later.
Brazil just recently let me in, and I had trouble getting in. But you got to remember, I go around from schools to schools. I talk to kids. I got a track record. Yeah, I've been doing it almost 10 years now.
You got an Albanian passport?
No. But I could get one anytime I want in Albania. And, so, what I'm doing is really, I'm trying to tell a kid, don't do what I did because you're going to suffer and you're not going to live a good life. And, people ask me, well, some of the things, like even when I came back from Brazil and they were, they got this kind of concept that I'm supposed to get life. And look at all the guys I shot and killed. And I went through numbers of them in my last interview. And I could tell you another 20 I did now. But extradition law was 30 years max coming back from Brazil. You guys know some of the stuff from extradition, and my friends know some of it. It's the most I could get. So when they sent me back, there was no more death penalty on the table, or they don't send me back, and I only get max 30 years. I did 2.5 years in Brazil. Actually, that credit should have been almost 9 years, just for that, because of the torturous time you do that. But when I came back, I could take a plea out, and the most I'm facing on that 30, because you're going to do about 25. I was supposed to get 9 years off on the 25, so I was supposed to do 16 if I went to trial.
I've got to watch what I say, because I can't really go back and say a lot of stuff what I've really done, because you can just have me back and lock me up. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I packaged my deal after Gotti ratted, so it was very simple for me. I should be thanking him. So people ask me, why'd you testify again? Well, I testified against a rat. I says, So, it's...
So even though there's no statute of limitations on murder, you can talk about your stuff.
Well, it's part of my plea, all of it. I blanketed it all. I put it in. There's nothing I can do.
That's clever.
Yeah. And, I made that deal back then, and I live a different life. Guys try to bait me all the time. And I tell them the same thing. Listen, I'm the same guy. Easy for me to reach out. And actually, I probably got tons of guys, more than I used to have in every country. They'll do anything I want for me, anytime I want.
I was going to say, you probably wouldn't have to personally put hands on anyway.
Yeah. You know how many guys ask me, you want me to hurt God? You want me to kill that God? You want me to do this? And I laugh. And I said, let him suffer. He's got to look at himself in the mirror every day.
Exactly.
He can't bullshit. Listen, you guys are smart guys. Guys that have been involved in the street. He could spin that story all he wants. We were sitting in the penitentiary. These guys were with me. And he's making a meeting in 2004, 2005 to meet with the government, Queen of the Day. You're going to go in and talk to, what the fuck you calling the government and ask them to talk if you didn't want a rat? And in our laws, you can't go in or you're a rat. You went in, made a deal, became Queen of the Day. And who the fuck knows how long you've been doing that for? We just found that signature on a couple pieces of paper. It could be years you've been doing that.
Then went round and called every fucking else rats.
And all I did now is, he's talking about doing this, that other thing. You did 300 people in your movie. Just shut the fuck up and go away.
Yeah.
You ratted. You're not fooling gangsters. You chased out of the neighborhood. You chased away from the mafia. You chased out every country. Everybody knows what you did.
You got to wake up and
go away
yourself.
And shut the fuck up and act like a man at least, and stop with these Instagrams and this nonsense. And aren't you embarrassed? Guys on the internet are calling you Diaper Don. I mean, So how do you stop the guy? Really? I mean, you got to say, you want to buy your own, but listen, he knows, guy looks in the mirror, he knows what he is. I mean, there's nothing else to say. So, but when you look at countries like here with my friends that know me and they're in jails with me and they're in, from the streets and he's not fooling anybody. Yeah, no. Everybody knows he's full of shit. And we joke about the way he blinks, that he lies all the time because he blinks so much. And that's been since he's a kid, that was nicknamed. So, I mean, do something positive. Teach some kids something. I don't know.
Exactly, yeah.
They're not calling El Chapo's son Diaper Don after today. Going back to, I was going to ask you about the blowback, and you touched on it from Paul's murder. But a lot of people watching this wouldn't understand what you said about the chin. And could you just explain who the chin is, what the beef was between the two families, and what the retaliation was?
Well, in a mob, you can't just hit anybody you want, especially a sitting boss. So any boss from any crew, unless it goes to the commission and everybody approves it, you can hit the boss. If you don't, the reason why they're so strict with it is because they could be the next guy getting killed. So Gigante was the boss. The Chin Gigante was the boss of the Genovese family. He was probably the most powerful family, even though you hear the Gambino family was. But Gigante and they were known to be a very quiet, powerful family. And Lucchese family, Amuso, Vic, also from Howard Beach, same neighborhood as Gotti, despised Gotti. And he was also very powerful, and he was aligned with Lucchese, with the Genovese family. So they decided on what Gotti did. Obviously, was against Cosa Nostra law, and we're gonna hit some guys and make sure that they understand that we're gonna hit Gotti too. So they hit Eddie Lino, made guy for Gotti. Gotti didn't hit him, nobody back. They hit Frankie DeChico in a bomb. They didn't hit anybody back. They hit Bobby Borriello in front of his house. They didn't hit anybody back. They hit Joey Scopo, that Gotti placed as one of the acting bosses of one of the factions, the Colombo family. We didn't hit anybody back. So this was the rhythm of what the public and the kids and everybody doesn't understand. And then when he got in trouble, he blamed his Goomba was Angelo Ruggiero, and he fucked him and shelved him and blamed him for getting caught on tapes. Yet Gotti got caught on more tapes than him. And then when he got caught again, he fucked Sammy Gravano, and he blamed everything on him. And then he fucked Frankie Loke, and he wouldn't let him even defend himself or meet with his lawyer without him being there controlling the case. So Frankie got life. So that's history. That's the truth. So, on a personal level, I could talk about the outside of the, God family, and I always tell everybody the same thing. I don't want to do that. I'm talking Cosa Nostra. I'm not talking about, like him, like a little bitch.
Yeah.
So that's him that does that stuff, and that's why he's not man, and that's why people don't respect him. But on the other hand, at least his father was a street guy. At least his father was a gangster, and at least his father, maybe he wasn't, good at what he did, because he really wasn't. The media needed somebody to be a sucker, and he raised his hand.
He was a lot more real than his son, though.
No, he's a street guy. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
his father went to the same high school as me, Frank K. Lane, Brooklyn. The kid was born with a little silver spoon in his mouth. And then when Daddy left, his own sister wrote an article in 1992 that my brother doesn't have the stomach for this life and he can't do it. And then he filed 1 million papers against me when I came home from jail. He filed it with my parole. He filed it with the FBI. He filed it with Washington, D.C. He had his sister file. They all filed that I'm going to kill him. So, and then he wants to talk nonsense. I ain't going to kill him anyway, but what are you filing all these papers for?
Yeah.
And then you filed when you're on the courthouse steps and you said your life's in danger. So just go the fuck away. No one cares where you're at. No one's paying attention. And stop this nonsense calling yourself a boss, because that's a fucking joke. You got put in a position because your father was in that position, and your father happened to take down not just the mob, he took down his whole family.
It's almost like a child attention seeker, isn't it?
Because he ain't, he never got there. He just doesn't know what it is to be a man. If you watch a weak guy that's like him, he stays with all weak men. And I'm not talking physically.
Mm-hmm.
I got friends that never got into a fist fight and they're the biggest men around. So I'm talking about gentleman men that you can have a conversation with. He stays with clowns, complete clowns, because he wants to feel like strong. He wants to feel important in front of him. I stay with men.
Yeah.
And those men make me more of a man, because they're intelligent, tough guys, whatever, businessmen, guys that you can respect.
Equal, you don't think any better of anyone else. You're on an equal.
Only an insecure guy stays with guys like this. It's an insecure quality. You're not fooling anybody. You can't get on an interview, ask them to do a show with you. Please come and I want to ask you some questions. You want to ask them that, did you say on YouTube, I only ratted on my enemies? Well, I definitely ain't his friend. So did you go and make Queen of the Day? He can't come talk to you, because who's he going to bullshit? You're going to hammer him. You're going to say, what the fuck you talking about? You went in and you made a deal. You became Queen of the Day. Yes or no? Did you say? I said it a joke on I don't know how many interviews and shows I did. He says he only ratted a little bit. I says, well, I got that broad pregnant just a little bit over there. I said, fuck are you talking about? You ratted. You had the ability to give me 3,000 years.
How'd you do it? Just a little bit? You know what I mean?
And these guys will tell you that, these guys were away with me when they heard me on the phones. And I was trying every escape plan there was out of Brazil Penitentiary when this guy was talking. I said, I'm fucked here. And then you got other captains saying if I'm not nice to Johnny Alite, that he's going to kill me. What kind of statements are these guys making?
Yeah.
Well, you're allocuting to positions in the Mafia. You ain't allowed to allocute. What, do you change the laws? Now you're allocuting, and you're allocuting to the existence of the Mafia? So when it's convenient, everything changes. Or what Jeannie Gotti did to Joe in jail, you disrespectful fuck. Joe never fucked with you. Joe didn't have an ego. Joe was a quiet guy. You ain't going to turn that around at something. There was too many guys there. Persico was there, the boss of the Colombo family, his brother Teddy. There was I can name a million guys there. So.
Probably the respect from the whole mafia's gone, haven't they? Because there's that many people who just talked.
And when you have that many people talking, you lose the structure. When you have guys that don't belong in that life, you got there was some nice guy kids, Vinny Butch, Corallo, these guys got straightened out in my house. He's a nice kid, I guess, big kid, good looking kid. He's running around with Gotti. You got no business. You're only a street guy. What the fuck are you doing in there? What's wrong with the father? What are you making this kid for? But this goes on day and night. Or I had a kid, I talk about this other kid, Bonanno skipper, Ronnie Giolenzo. I call him a punk too. I mean, he set up one of Gotti's brother-in-laws for me. And then after I left him there from the street for dead, this idiot picks him up and takes him to the hospital. Who's a rat? You just set him up. What kind of gangster are you? You got scared he's going to die, so you don't want to get blamed with me? And then you want to call me a rat?
So he took him to the hospital?
Yeah, he took him to the hospital. I said, and I said the message after that. I should have chopped this fucking kid's head off. You setting a guy up, who the fuck are you taking him to the hospital? Now that ain't a rat. So you just want to sell pills and you want to sell weed and you want to sell whatever, a little coke, and you want to run around with a crew of jerk-offs and say you're a gangster.
But it's a police call for anything serious.
Oh, if they picked him for that, he was going to give me up. I was amazed that he took him. I go, why the fuck did you take him? Because they thought he was going to die. Who gives a fuck? I said, that's why he left him there.
Yeah.
But how do they change that? I don't know. It's mind-boggling. If you want to be a gangster, that's what you do.
So you said when the Chin was retaliating, Gotti was absorbing the blows. Was his game plan just sacrifice these people, I'm the boss, absorb the blows and ride it out, not go tit for tat?
Listen, exactly. He was going to throw anybody under the bus to keep himself out there. And listen, we're in this room. It's being recorded, right? We assume every room's recorded. Why the fuck am I going to blame every crime in the world on you? Why am I talking about it? Just because I know if it's bugged, I said, see, listen to those tapes. I didn't have nothing to do with it. It was him. I mean, there's nothing else to say here. We're not working on Wall Street. We're not bankers. The fuck you talk? Our laws, when you commit a crime, they're not supposed to be spoken about, especially a murder. It's a death sentence. Mm-hmm. So when he brought up these murders, what's that about? I want somebody that's a historian to tell me what's it about. I want them to tell me, why isn't everybody writing this? Why are they sending a false message of the history of the mob? Because some guys in the media wanted to build up this guy to be what he was, but that's not reality of who it is. Would you want him to be your boss? Would you want him to be your boss? Who's going to want him to be your boss? When this is what a real boss, a guy that stands in front, he takes the weight. He's the one that's doing all the shooting. He's the one going, okay, you're at a certain position now, and your days are over, but you never were a shooter before that. And you stole a position because you had a lot of friends, without a doubt, that were fucking very loyal to you. Johnny Koenig won. And the reason why I like Johnny is because he was a nice guy. He drove around on boats and bikes, and he had a good time. He wasn't want to sit in the club all day. And that little bitch Gotti Jr. stealing all his money when he went to do 50 years because of his father. You're stealing the guy's money. And then you got a brother that's fucking you because he's all high and he's too weak to handle John. And then, these guys want to know where's the loyalty. There isn't going to be. I was supposed to kill Gotti Jr. See, the brother Pete Gotti, even though I like him, he was in the package, and the brother-in-law Carmine. The same guy that gives me the guns, Charles Koenig, gives me up. That he gives me the guns for $700. So when people ask me, well, didn't you testify? Fuck yeah, against the guy that just gave me up on a fucking triple homicide I was going to do, because he's a junkie. He's not his brother. He left his brother suffering in jail. His brother couldn't get a favor out of me. He had to come to me, through him or through his adopted son. That's the reality of what these kids got to know. And I like Johnny. I still like Johnny. I don't know what his sentiments are, but he knows his brother was weak.
When you get away with crimes for years, there's a degree of arrogance. We were joking, we're above the law, we're never going to get caught, all this kind of stuff. So Gotti goes to all these trials. He's got this killer legal team, gets named the Teflon Don. Do you think that just fed his ego and made his guard slip? And he spoke more to give more evidence up?
No, because he beats these cases because Sammy takes the reins and tells us all how to get to these juries. We're all in on it. Sammy's the one running the show, but we're all part of it. And so John knows he's going to sit there. He's got his chest out because he ain't going to jail because Sammy took care of it. So everything Sammy saved his life how many times? Sammy has the power. Sammy has the guy. Sammy's making the money. So you're fucking jealous of Sammy and you're trying to fucking hammer Sammy. And listen, the rest of the mob, when Sammy testifies, they can blame Sammy all they want. Here's what I'm going to say. The same thing I said to these guys when I was in prison. Well, you guys are gangsters. This is the Gambino family. Why didn't you fucking kill Gotti Sr.? And Sammy wouldn't have to talk. He had cuffs on him. He's in Manhattan jail. Never had a chance to get free because Gotti just hammered him on a fucking 1,000 tapes. Kill Gotti. In jail, kill him. And it's the same thing with Junior Gotti. I'm sitting in a penitentiary. Why the fuck are you killing him? Aren't we the Gambino family? Isn't that what we do for a living? So when it's time to kill these guys, why aren't you killing them? Because they got that name? What the fuck does that mean to me? So that's the realistic part of the mob. And the realistic part of Sammy, he's got to be frustrated as shit. And all these guys, whoever he later on implicated or whatever, it's their own fault, because when Sammy was on the street, he was taking care of business. Why didn't you take care of it for him? And you left him desolate. You know, it's not like you had a chance to go kill him. And you know how many guys are in prison? You give guys never getting out. You guys know. Hey, give them $1 million. Hey, the family again, being gives you $1 million to your family. Hey, you're near Gotti in jail. Hey, stick them up, stab them up, kill them. Why didn't you just do it? When you want to be the mob or you want to be fucking Girl Scouts? I mean, you know, you have a choice. I mean, these days it's different. I understand that because of technology. It's not the same. There's cameras everywhere. There's cell phones everywhere. It's a little more difficult. But in those days, not at all. It was easy.
We're not offering $1 million, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not worth $1 million.
I give you 10.
Give you the 10.
Yeah.
$50 bag of heroin in Arizona prison, isn't it?
Yeah.
Take you out. What made Sammy the Ball such a good underboss?
Because of what you guys said, he didn't have an ego. He was humble. He was, you know, he was quiet. He didn't run around yelling and, you know, he did the work. If he didn't do the work directly, he made sure somebody else did the work. And he was a big fucking earner. And he had a great crew of guys around him. So he had the whole package. And, you know, he got a real bad fucking, you know, and he spent a lot of time later on in jail. And I think a lot of that is, you know, because of what happened in his past, and he got hammered. But he conducted himself different. I said it from when I was a kid. When I first met him, John tried to intimidate me, which he did intimidate me. I was a kid. I won't say he didn't intimidate me as a kid. As an older guy, I was a little smarter. And I looked at him different, and I looked at him like most guys looked at him. You probably want him dead. But Sammy didn't try that with you. He looked at you, he said hello. He didn't try to scare you off. He didn't try to intimidate you. He was secure with himself. So it was a different human being. And, you know, you get guys in those positions, like Vic Amuso was in the neighborhood, and he was that type of guy too. He was okay. He wasn't one of those guys trying to intimidate anybody. He went about his business because he was secure in his life, and he was a fucking killer. So he was no soft guy. So these guys were legitimate killers. Guess but maybe because John wasn't one of these guys. There wasn't a killer like that he had that insecurity complex. I'm not sure because I didn't have those discussions with him, but who the hell knows? I'm not a psychiatrist. But some of these guys, that's why I say when you talk about Sammy, people hear me talk about him. He got a bad shake.
What was your first meeting with Sammy like?
Just a long goodbye in 80, something like 84 or some shit I see. But, you know, we're always at the clubs. We're always we're always at the Bergen or the Ravenite, and you hear this nonsense. Well, there's no pictures of me in the Bergen. You know, I hear all this dumb shit from people on the internet. And I'm like, at the trials, they played a video of me at the Ravenite. At the courthouse, I'm picking up Gotti Sr. in Brooklyn. At his house, I'm coming out his fuck. How many pictures you want from me? I'm not fucking George Clooney doing a show.
Exactly.
You know, so... And the nonsense, and you know, these are people that don't know the life or the Gotti, you know, ass kisses or whatever. But if you understand the life, and the guys in every crew understand this life, and it doesn't matter what family or, you know, whether it's New York mobs to Chicago, Philadelphia, whatever, we understand one thing, right? We understand that you make an appointment to see the FBI, it's done. You're a rat. Finished. And I've said over and over again, and the son tried to open up the Bronx House of Detention. You know that, right? Get the paperwork, and he admits it. He was going to open a jail to put all those guys in jail and make money off us. That's even worse of a rat. So, you know, and he admits it. So I don't even know what these conversations are about. I'm in a penitentiary in 2005 trying to save my life with these guys. I says, and we're getting information one after another. These guys were all giving me up. You know, it's not, You know, if I didn't want to go nowhere, I would have saved my millions, about 35, 36 million at the time, my houses, my nightclub, my parking company, and I wouldn't spend a day in jail. And I would never have to leave my family. That wasn't my choice. My choice was to be loyal to Cosa Nostra, be loyal to my enemies, and be loyal to my friends. And in return, they all fucked me.
Did you feel like very betrayed?
Yeah, I was betrayed, but you know what? Like I said, listen, I don't give a fuck. I got a new life. I moved on. I try to tell kids don't follow the same shit that I did, because look what this. You know, here's an example, here's an example, here's an example, and move on with your life. I had a crazy life. You know, I moved around from country to country, getting chased all over the place by Interpol. I got guys trying to kill me at the same time. I'm trying to save my own life, trying to save money. All my good friends betrayed me. And somehow the story got mixed a little bit here. But this guy's a lawyer. It's very easy to say, did this guy get caught with anything? I never got caught.
Now you can go country to country freely.
Yeah, I mean, some countries don't let me in, despite what you guys just joked about earlier. I can't get in Canada still. I'm trying to get in Canada. They won't let me in. There's a couple others, and I won't mention because I don't want them not to let me in anymore.
I don't think so. There's not a whole lot in Canada anyways, apart from bacon.
I got some family and friends there, and
Oh,
know, yeah. So I'd like to see them. I got a good friend of mine that does a TV show there.
I used to come over the border from Canada, Niagara Falls, to Buffalo, New York.
Yeah. I went there, Buffalo, New York. I couldn't go on the other side.
So people are fascinated by the inner workings of the mafia. So say John wanted someone killed, how does that go down the line?
If I wanted somebody killed, John?
If John Gotti wants to have somebody killed,
John,
as the boss, how does it go down?
It depends on who it involves. So let's just say it involves somebody that Sammy could get in there, he's going to go to Sammy first with it. You know, when we killed Louis DeBono, to give you an example, Sammy really didn't have that much information of what happened with Louis. You know, he didn't know that hit went to Gotti Jr. as a first hit as a captain, and then John brought it to me. And then we had a discussion, me and John, with Bobby Borriello, and from there, you know, he gets hit. So that's one hit. It depends who has the access to a guy, and you try to keep it close knit as much as you can, so it's not in 10 different people's hands. They killed one guy, I forget his name, offhand, Jewish guy. It might have been Weiss. And I don't know how many guys got hit with that murder. I think that was that murder. Like 10 different guys got conspiracy to get murder. To murder. It's the most ridiculous thing, because it's not like people think. There's not that many guys out there doing these shootings. You know, everybody thinks everybody in the mob's a killer. It's not even close to accurate.
What's the preferred method to take someone out?
It depends on the guy and the individual too. I mean, if it's me, you're going to hit him first. I'd rather hit him to the body if he's moving, because it's going to slow him down. Then you put a couple in his head. But if you have them, like you have some guys, you just shoot them a couple times in the head, because you always got to hit him with a headshot. Make sure you finish him. Guys make that mistake, and they leave them live. And sometimes those guys that have lived, they're coming back and they're killing those same guys. So, you know, it's when you're going to do your work, you got to do it precisely, and you got to do it like a professional, really. And, you know, people say, well, it's cold. Well, it's the truth of what we were doing. So it is cold.
Yeah, I met a guy in prison. I wrote his life story, and he was a Banana associate, went out to Alaska and formed his own clique out there. And he said that his preferred method was right in here. So the skull, just shooting them so the skull doesn't circumvent the bullet. So when you say in the head, did you have a preferred part of the head to shoot him in?
Yeah, if you're going to shoot him, you shoot him 2, 3, 4 times. It doesn't matter where you shoot him in the head. If you're shooting him that many times, he's not getting up.
From close range, that is.
Yeah, I had an idiot guy that was with me once, and he told me, I think he's alive still after, a couple of days later. And I'm like, oh, you can't be this fucking dumb. But there are guys that it is dumb.
Yeah, in Arizona, they had us do the concealed weapons permit classes. It was actually cops who taught us how to kill.
Well, yeah, actually, I went to shoot, and that's who taught me to shoot. I used to go shooting range in Florida.
Yeah.
And there was an ex-cop that taught me how to shoot.
So for home protection, of course, they taught us this. Shoot him in the chest and the head.
Yeah.
And then you got the heart and the brain.
Yeah. It's always a body shot.
So did it ever, other than the one that you described then, were there mess-ups during these hits that things just got really out of control? And
guys will talk about whether it's a murder or whether it's a robbery. It's not set up properly, meaning you're getting bad information. So say John asked me to kill somebody and I bring it to you because it's somebody, you got to give me the intel. So you tell me this guy's at this location and there's only 2 people there. Well, there's 4. You tell me there's no alarms, there's an alarm. You tell me there's no dogs, there's 2 dogs, 3 dogs, 5 dogs. You tell me there's nobody else in there, there's no women or children, there's women or children. And this happens a lot because you're getting guys that are idiots.